Morning, guys, and welcome back, or afternoon, I should say, because it's a later stream, isn't it? And normally I'm
It is.
used to a morning stream, but yeah, 1:30 deadline, which is interesting. We haven't had one of those for a while, it seems. But yeah, how you doing today, Jordan? How's everything going?
Yeah, it feels different streaming this time. I think it's nice because we get that lie-in the morning. But yeah, it's good. I think this deadline. Obviously, there's nowhere to kick off as it would be now. But yeah, 3 o'clock games should be exciting. And yeah, there is lots to talk about. A bit of frustration to talk about, but yeah.
You just know that Liverpool would have been on the early kickoff, but because Aston Villa played, they had to move it to 8 p.m. I mean, when is there ever an 8 p.m. kickoff? On a Saturday, but yeah, that's a whole different other debate with the 12:30 kickoffs. But yeah, let's look at our bus teams. As you may see, for those with a keen eye, you'll have seen I've moved early. I've done a transfer already. So currently the bus team is Raya in goal. Back three, Ain't Nuri, Lewis, Gabriel. Midfield five of Mbermo, Palmer, Semenyo, Salah, Cap, Rogers. And then up front, I have actually removed DCL from my team. I sort of had enough with him. I think since I bought him in, he's been pretty terrible. He's had the chances to score, but he's just not put them away. So Strand Larsen is coming into my team. Saves me money as well. He's only 4.9 million. So sorry, 5.9 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Southampton next. So I'm happy with the transfer in and excited to see what he can do. So I've got the two Norwegian frontmen up top. And arguably Strand Larsen is the more informed Norwegian. And Haaland as well, who's currently with the vice captaincy, who's got Brighton away. On the bench, Fabianski, Archer, Mikalenko, and Greaves, who's currently flagged. Obviously, I've done the move already. I'm quite happy and set with that move. I would have maybe swayed with Cunha, but I like Larsen, that he's a differential, and not many people have him in the team. So I'm hoping he sort of pays me the faith in that regard. Captaincy is one I'm still, as you know, yesterday when we did this stream, on the bit about the captaincy, I said I was 80% sure I was going Salah for captaincy. More and more as we get closer to the deadline, I am tempted with going with Haaland as well, because I've seen so many managers have sold Haaland completely. So I just want to back against those people, because I just think if I captain Haaland and he does good, if he scores a brace, it could be a huge rank gain, especially with where I'm at the moment. So I am tempted with Haaland because he's not going to be a differential, but his effective ownership in the top 1 million, I think, will be quite low. I think most people have sold him by now. I mean, that's the only reason that tempted me.
Yeah, because he's had 570,000 transfer out. So if Haaland does in fact score, and let's say Salah blanks, that's a 570 gain from those who don't have Haaland in the team, who does captain. So that's a huge rank booster if you think of it like that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his effective ownership of Haaland and Salah in the top 100k anyway. But looking at Haaland's ownership, is 66%. So a lot of these that have him might be inactive managers as well. But he has had a lot of transfers out. What's it on now? How many is it out for him now, transfers wise?
573,000.
There you go. So there's a lot of managers have removed him. That's sort of tempting me to just keep the faith with him. Harry says, hopefully this game week is a good one. Yeah, hopefully. Some interesting fixtures to come shortly.
It feels like there hasn't been a really good game week so far, like one that's been explosive.
Harry in the chat as well. The other Harry. Good afternoon, lads. Yep, afternoon to you, mate. Hope you're well. Would you take Rogers and Haaland out for Bruno and Solanke? Which is an interesting question. Because again, it's the Haaland chat, really. What are your thoughts, Jordan, on this question?
I wouldn't. I mean, between those two, I kind of have to calculate how many points I see more from Rogers, Haaland, or Bruno and Solanke.
Also, it depends who you're going to be captaining as well. I think if you own Salah, in your case, Harry, if you have Salah in your team and you're going to captain Salah, maybe there's a an argument to be had because you're not going to captain Haaland. Is it worth having a 15.4 million striker in your team if you're not going to captain him? There is that there as well.
Yeah, there's also that. I think I would. I think I would take the -4 for Bruno Solanke.
Interesting. So you would sell Haaland in this case, essentially.
In this scenario that Harry Davis has put out in terms of the question, yes. I personally would find it hard to do it myself if I had that opportunity to with those players. But yeah, I think in Harry's case, I would take the -4. I'd even be tempted at captaining Solanke as well to mitigate that -4 too, because he's got a nice fixture against Ipswich and he's just come off a massive brace in his last fixture. So that would be an exciting captain, I think, Solanke this week for that -4, and also having Bruno too.
Bruno's interesting because we know Manchester United have a decent run now of fixtures, so could potentially be a good one to go for. Jenny, hi guys. Any news on Palmer starting? There's not any news. I don't think we're going to get any news about Palmer. I think if you've got Palmer, just keep him, hold him. I don't think it's serious. I think he will start. But again, it's just a guess at this moment in time. But I would be holding on to Palmer, guys, because I don't think his injury is serious. If he misses one game, hopefully you've got a bench player to come in for him anyway. You'd expect this week to be good because of all the home fixtures. Yeah. Possibly.
You'd think so, because that's not always worked out in the case.
Yeah. I have Salah and I'm going to captain Salah, I think he's saying. Or might go different captain. I'm unsure at the moment. I'm all sort of in the same boat. Obviously, I've got Salah as captain. And just not really sure. It does tempt me to go Haaland to back against all the people that sold him. So sort of, because I've got both. Most people only have one at this moment in time. I mean, let's pull up your boss team, Jordan. Just run us through your 11 as well, and then obviously there's been a slight, change now to your transfer plans potentially as well.
Yeah, very annoying. But starting off, I think I've got Hermanson, back three of Mazrari, Robinson, and Aït-Nouri. Midfield 5 are Palmer, Mbeumo, Johnson, Salah, and McNeil. And the front two are Haaland and Chris Wood. On the bench, you've got Vardy, Marston, Keane, Fies, and Wheatley. And the captaincy is over Haaland, which I am sticking to, with the vice being on Salah, along with 2 flags in my team. So, yeah, there is 2 flags in my team, Palmer and McNeil. Not worried about Palmer's flag. It's more the McNeil one, which I was unexpectedly seeing, which I didn't realise. But there is plans to take out McNeil, as you'd see in team selection anyway, so that will be resolved in the stream.
Okay. In terms of transfers, though, obviously you were looking at Garnacho as well. Garnacho is obviously risen in price. He's 6.2 now, ain't he?
Yeah, 6.4 now. So I think it was originally 6.3. Yeah, because I'm now priced out the move. Yeah, he is 6.4 million now. I'm so annoyed at this because last night I checked his price rise on the app to see how much his percentage was. It was about 84% before I went to, obviously at night time, and I thought I'll keep the transfer. I won't make it early. I'll do it for the deadline stream, and obviously has told me this morning.
I saw the price rises and I saw players rose in price. Garnacho's up there. I was surprised that Garnacho's gone up. I didn't expect him to.
Yeah, he must have had a surge of transfers overnight, because I saw Bruno Fernandes rising to obviously yesterday, but Garnacho wasn't even near as close to Bruno. So it was quite surprising to see that. But yeah, it has priced me out the move, which I am now, because I still want Garnacho in my team. I'm now forced into taking a -4 again this week. I didn't want to. I just wanted to do a run-free transfer. As you can see, I only have one left this week. So, yeah, the plan is still to bring in Garnacho. into my team.
That's what always got to be eye on the prize in terms of
Yeah,
price rises. You've always got to be careful, especially if you just about can afford it.
that's it. If you're on that borderline, it can make the difference. So yeah, obviously you can see I'm 0.1 short. So the thing I've considered, doing is taking out. I believe it was Fies, taking out a defender because I'm not touching the midfield or the forwards. I'm going to take out a defender and bring in Van der Berg for Brentford. Yeah, for that -4. It must
you can't
have
even
been for
get there
Keane.
because you can't get there.
I think it's for
for Keane.
Yeah, actually no.
Keane could be a good fit.
Actually no, I still can't do that.
Yeah, because Van der Berg's 4.1, ain't he? How expensive is Van der Berg?
Van der Berg is 4.1.
Yeah.
I thought I checked it on my app and I had enough money for that.
Yeah, you can't do it unless you get rid of Aït-Nouri, which you probably don't want to do with his fixture.
No,
I don't think your team looks bad anyway, though. I mean, McNeil's not. Is there anyone else you can go to? How much do you have? Who's under 6 million that you can go to? Maybe a U-turn back to Semenyo, possibly.
Yeah, it's just
you had him, so it's a bit frustrating that taking him out, bringing him back in. Probably don't want to do that.
No, I want a nice differential this week, being Garnacho as well. I just have a feeling Garnacho, even if he doesn't do well against Leicester, when obviously Amorim comes after the international break when he has Ipswich, kind of still. Well, obviously I could bring him in for that week anyway, but I want it from Leicester, Garnacho.
Yeah, Patrick also saying Garnacho could be potentially minutes risk with Ahmad as well there. Thoughts on my super differential captain, Brennan Johnson? I think it's a great fixture for Brennan Johnson. If you want to go very, very different, I don't hate the move. I think Spurs could do well against Ipswich. Have you thought about it, Jordan, at all, captaining Johnson as an owner?
Well, I think after the last knee-jerk reaction, I was contemplating captaining Johnson, but with a clear mind now, it's gone towards Haaland. But yeah, I think Johnson's a good captain pick, different, nice fixture, and I expect Spurs to score a lot of goals in that game, and perhaps Johnson could be one of the players to obviously get a return in that one. So I don't think it's a bad captain pick.
Pedro Silva sold Haaland for Solanke last week. Having Salah, Saka, Palmer going for Solanke captain is very tempting. Yes, that's definitely Spurs could go big this week. We know Solanke's come off the back of the 2 goals as well after his brace. So yeah, it's definitely one to take a punt on potentially. Harry also says Flecken, Fabianski, Trent, Vardiol, Aït-Nouri, Burmo, Salah, Bruno, Garnacho, McNeil, Cunha, Solanke. Only debated which keeper to pick now. Hi guys, what do you guys think of Johnson or Strand Larson as a differential captain? Don't want to go as everyone else with Salah Haaland. Johnson over Strand Larson for me. If I was going different, I would prefer go Johnson, but I'd prefer to stick safe with Salah or Haaland. But yeah, Johnson would be the one ahead of Strand Larson if it was one of those two you're looking at, Patrick. Thoughts on benching Smith Rowe or Bernardo? I think that's completely fine. I mean, I wouldn't want to bench Bernardo, but he's not been great, to be fair to him. I probably will look at moving out Bernardo there, Jenny.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Garnacho or Bruno if you can get up to Bruno. Trying to be different.
Yeah, and if you can't do any moves, then I'd probably bench Silva and play Smith Rowe. Because Smith Rowe's been much better than Bernardo Silva has.
Yeah, Smith Rowe's got Palace away, ain't he?
Palace
away.
Reds away.
So yeah, what's the plans, Jordan? Because you've been priced out for Garnacho now.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of in the pickle now. This has, because I'm going to regret it.
You can't go anywhere else unless you drop Aït-Nouri or Mazraoui to another defender, which are 2 of your better defenders.
Or Robinson, but again, I don't really want to drop him.
Yeah, you can go Robinson.
Yeah, it has to be Robinson because I'm not dropping Aït-Nouri and Mazraoui. in the
And even
team.
Robinson, what's his fixtures like though?
Well, they're pretty nice. Pretty nice fixtures. Robinson has Crystal Palace, Wolves. He does have
Yeah,
Spurs in 13. But again, I have to remember he's a defender. And he's
yeah,
not going to get attacking returns every week and clean sheets.
yeah. No, okay, fair enough. Yeah, make it interesting for you what you do now, because it would have been nice to have Garnacho do it yesterday, getting it
Yeah,
for free
straight
as
swap.
well. I'm not sure about the -4. I know I mentioned to you about the -4. I'm not sure because you'd need Garnacho to definitely score a goal just to be worth the hit. If he does score, what's he
Yeah,
going to get? 7 points, 6 points? Is it worth it long term? It might be, but I don't know if I'd
yeah,
want to do it for a hit, especially for a player like Garnacho, which isn't that. I don't think he's that big of a player. Like bringing a salary in for a -4, or a Haaland, or even a Palmer. It's one to definitely weigh into.
yeah, it is. But I feel like if I don't bring him in and he somehow scores a brace, let's say,
Yeah, that's if you think he's going to
might not
get a
happen.
brace.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
at some
I'm not as
extent
keen
he
on
is.
United assets personally.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the United assets, but I just think there's a turnaround for them, a short period of turnaround, especially the next three for them.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, no,
so
I'd expect that from a United fan.
like,
um, yeah, I'm not convinced with United yet. Personally, I want to see what Amorim does. I'm on Bruno. I think could be a decent pick. I see why people are going to Man United assets though, because obviously they've got the three fixtures that look really nice on paper, and most people don't have United assets. Um, so because most people don't have United assets, he's sort of tempted to go there and sort of get on early, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Um, Going back to my team to answer SB's questions, which transfers did you make? Um, in terms of transfers I made, was obviously Strand Larson. I've took out DCL and I bought Strand Larson in for free, and that also gives me some money in the bank as well, which I like. That I have a bit of spare change because I didn't have much in the budget, so give me 0.6, and I can do other things. Because this is the last game week now until international break. We get another 2 weeks, another week or 2 week break really before the next Premier League game. So going into international break as well, Jordan, in your case, having 2 free transfers could also be beneficial because this is the last game
yeah,
week before another 2 week break. Injuries could happen, etc. So yeah, that's another thing to take into consider. Wouldn't mind rolling, but I was in a position with DCL that I think I've had enough of him. But you might be in the same boat with McNeil.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not even sure if he's gonna start in
Yeah,
this
did he
fixture as
start last
well.
game?
He did start last game, but I believe he
Mm,
picked this injury up
yeah.
midweek, I believe. So I'm not entirely sure how serious his injury is.
Would you rather transfer out Rogers or McNeil? Definitely McNeil,
McNeil.
even though Rogers has a tougher fixture. But Rogers is one of the better players Aston Villa have in terms of attacking threat, and Villa's fixtures. If we look at it on paper, yeah, Liverpool Anfield's a tougher game for them, but they've got some good games coming up as well. So definitely keep Rogers. I was never convinced with McNeil personally long term. He did have the good fixtures with Everton, but I think we were tricked with Everton's assets. I know McNeil done quite well, and then I was tricked with sort of the XG and the shots Calvert-Lewin was getting. He looked like he was going to score, but is what it is. It's one of those errors that we've sort of made. Harney says, "Hey guys, great to see you again, Huss. By the way, Lewis or Feist, definitely Lewis. Feist has Man United, isn't it? So
Yeah, may
I
not.
know
Yeah,
Lewis played 90 in the Champions League, but I think he should be fine to start again. I would be surprised, especially with Man City's injuries they have at the moment. I still think Lewis starts personally. Um, but yeah, going back to my team, I got 0.6 in the bank. In game week 12, I'd probably be looking to. I don't know who I'd bring in, to be fair, in game week 12. Because it's a Haaland question as well. If I sell Haaland, then it could mean, Haaland v Spurs captain. I don't think I'll go there, but we'll see. I need Haaland to return. If he doesn't return, I think there's a conversation to be had there for whether we sell him, and it's going to be interesting, definitely. Anyway, Jordan, what you thinking in terms of your team?
Yes, created a massive headache, especially a very massive headache for my team. I mean, I could be simple and not bring Garnacho and just roll the transfer. I could do that, but there's that sense of regret if I don't bring him in for this week.
Yeah, who are you taking out? The defender, Robinson.
Yeah, it has to be Robinson out of the all defence, because I'm not taking out Keane or Fires because I can't afford it, and Aït-Nouri and Mazraoui I've literally just brought into my team. So it would have to be Robinson for someone very cheap at 4.5. And I mean, there's Murillo, Gurhi, that really appealed to me. Kirkes even at 4.4. But other than that, there's not really that many options around that price mark to go for cheap.
Yep. Obviously, Van der Berg at Brentford, new signing. He's there as well. Aina or Robinson as well, says a comment from Hamza. Check what the fixtures are for them again. Ola Aina's got Newcastle at home. And Robinson has Palace. I'll probably start Robinson.
Yeah.
In that one. I'll
start Robinson. And yeah, there is Van der Berg. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for.
And Flecken has Bournemouth at home, and Fabianski has Palace. I'd probably go Flecken, even though he's not kept many clean sheets. Still, probably choose him. Hi guys, leaning more towards Haaland captain. Surely City can't lose 4 in a row. Yeah, I mean, even 3 in a row. No one would have thought City lose 3 in a row, but City have lost, 3 in a row in all comps now. They need to bounce back. It's a tough game. I think it's a tough game for Man City against Brighton. They do have a decent record against Brighton, but we don't actually know in terms of KDB as well. Is he going to start?
I think he will.
Do you think KDB starts?
Yeah, I think KDB will start. Even Foden, those 3 together. I feel like that's where Pep's going to go today against Brighton.
I personally don't think KDB starts. I just think he just come back. I think it'll be Bernardo, Foden, those guys. I just don't see it. So that's why I am tempted to go Salah cap. I don't think he'll rush him back in. I think in Champions League, I'm just trying to see the lineup against Sporting, because I didn't watch the game, but I know he didn't start that game. I don't think. Let me have a look. We won't hear team news either, would we?
No.
All right. So against Sporting Lisbon, the last match when they lost 4-1, there was no KDB. He was on the bench. He came on for the last 6 minutes to play. He came on for Kovacic. Now, so he's back under the fold, but even with KDB back to, I know how good he is. I don't think he's going to be that player that just you pop in and Man City are going to be amazing again. I think there's more to Man City now than just adding KDB and they're going to turn really good. I just think there's a lot more. Well, from what I've been watching anyway, I don't think it's just a KDB issue. There's defensively, they're not the same team. They are giving up a lot more bigger chances to teams, and they've got defensive issues. You see, against Sporting, they had a kid. I think his name is Jamai Simpson. They had him playing in defense. Rico Lewis right back. Yeah, they weren't convincing. But yeah, it's interesting, definitely, with City and what to do with them. But we also know that Haaland can just get a brace out of nowhere, and then it looks like he's back to it. And yeah,
I think he will score this game. Regardless of how Man City do play this week against Brighton, because it's a tough one, I still think Haaland will score at least 1 goal this game week in a strange sort of way where he gets that chance, but I think he will put it behind him, that chance when it does come to him.
Shaq says, afternoon, guys. I think I've hit my head on something. I've got Haaland, just bought in Bruno, and currently got captaincy on Bruno, which is another one, another sort of manager looking at backing against Erling Haaland. Let's have a little comparison with Erling Haaland in terms of, I mean, look at his numbers. He's got one goal. How many goals? He's got one goal in his last 5, right? In these games against Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves, Fulham, Newcastle. You look at these games though, they're not Liverpool, Arsenal, etc., Chelsea. They're not. They are the easier games on paper. His expected goal involvement, or expected goals even, was still pretty good against Southampton. He should have scored a couple against Southampton. Unlucky, poor finishing. Whatever you want to say about that one. Wolves, again, extremely low. He barely had a kick against Wolves. Against Bournemouth, though, 0.88. He did have a chance. Compare that to someone like Salah, which a lot of people are looking at. It's not massively different, the numbers, some would argue. 0.53 against Brighton, 0.38 against Arsenal, 0.8 against Chelsea, which is good. But Haaland is sort of similar. He's getting the chances to score, So it's not like he's not getting any chances at all, bar that Wolves game where he was fully locked down. He is still getting chances. Jenny says, thanks, guys. Have a great week. Yeah, have a great week as well. Also, guys, make sure you do hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'm guessing you've not gonna. Have you chosen Van der Berg? Are you committed on the -4 then?
Yeah, I'm committed on that -4. I mean, if we look at fixtures for Brentford, the next 3 are pretty good: Bournemouth, Everton, and Leicester. Maybe something comes across. Well, Brentford, I don't believe, have a clean sheet this season at all.
I don't think they do.
They've conceded every game, so they are due a clean sheet somewhere. And surely in these next 3, one pops out from somewhere. Because clean sheets, as we know, have been very hard to get, hard to find from players in this season. Because every team seems to concede goals, and only 1 or 2 seem to keep a clean sheet. So I'm not too invested in that defense. Obviously, you can see there's no premium defenders I have now. They're all cheap ones, because all of it's invested in the midfield and the forwards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let you lock that in if you're going to go and do the moves. Let us know what moves you guys are making as well in the chat, and let us know who you're captaining as well. I'm pretty locked. I am playing Rodgers against Liverpool away, and deciding to bench Archer because I don't expect much from Archer in that one against Wolves. And Rodgers may get something, who knows? But I expect Liverpool to win in the game today. But yeah, looking at my team, Jordan, obviously I've done the move. I've got 0.6, I think it is now in the bank. What would you say, players I should be looking at as well, long term? Because I want to go on FPL.team and start planning future transfers. Let me have a look. Let me just get my code. I always forget my code. My FPL code.
Yeah. And obviously, you're just looking at the team in terms of obviously the double Arsenal. That's something that's highlighted in terms of long term. I probably wouldn't still go for, even though the fixtures terrible for Arsenal. Yeah,
I think with Arsenal double defense, I think the time to jump off was probably last couple of weeks. I think I'm going to keep this double up now because I've kept hold of them through the painful fixtures where I should have probably not had them. But now I think the fixtures I've turned again, so I'm definitely going to keep Gabriel for 12 because I think I like his fixture in 12. Let me just show you what the plan is. Hold on, let me look at Arsenal's games. I know Arsenal have had a pretty rough time. No wins in the last 3, but they've had Newcastle, Liverpool, Bournemouth. Red card against Bournemouth, we know they had. And they've not been great. We know the last couple of games, they've not kept as many clean sheets. Just the 3 clean sheets for Arsenal, I think, this season. But Chelsea, again, I don't really expect a clean sheet. They can easily concede in that one with Chelsea's attack. Forest at home, we'll see. West Ham away, I can see a clean sheet here. Possibly with the way West Ham have been playing. Man United, Fulham, Everton, Palace, Ipswich, these are some decent games, especially these Fulham, Everton, Palace, Ipswich. You can see at least 1 or 2 clean sheets here for Arsenal, I think. So I'm not against keeping him. Maybe I could potentially look at selling Raya, downgrading him to a cheap goalie because he does take up a bit of budget. But I want to see with Arsenal. I know a lot of people had Arsenal last season, the way they played, best defense, etc., barely shipping goals. A lot of people had Arsenal to win a league even this season. It's not looked that way so far, but I still think Arsenal's defense will get you clean sheets. Maybe not as frequent as last season, but I'm not completely sold on Gabriel, like in terms of getting rid of him. But Raya, I might be moving him out. We'll see. I want to watch Arsenal when the fixtures turn again. If they're still conceding and dropping points, then I will look to remove them out. In terms of what the team looks like, just bear with me. So, hold on. Let's take a few more comments here. Who is the one player you don't have that you fear the most? It's Fernandes for me, says Ali Mac.
Interesting player to fear this week. For me, it's probably Son.
Son, okay. This week it probably would be having no Spurs for me. So any one of Son, Johnson, Solanke, because they've got the nice fixture, and I don't have any Spurs in my team, so it probably will be. I had to pick probably Son, yeah, or even Solanke actually, who I sold last week annoyingly. SB Jordan, have you had any green arrows?
Yeah, I had to look at this comment just earlier. I have 4 green arrows this season. Game week 5 and 6, and 8 and 9. So I've had 4 this week. 4 in this season so far.
I've not checked how many I've had, but I've not had many either. Like, it's been a rough sort of start to the season. But it's still early. You just need one good week, and I think you can get quite far. Because I remember last season I was like 5 million ranked around this. I think around game week 6, and then I had a really good game week, and I was in the top like 500k straight away. So I'm hoping I get that again. But it's tough. It all points bunched together. Thoughts on Son captain, Jordan?
It's tempting with Son on that left-hand side. He can be quite dangerous. And when we've seen him play, he obviously does take on the chances rather than provide it for others. So you've got to switch. I think it's a good captain for that fixture.
Yeah, with Son as well, the only thing I will say is he might get subbed off after 60, 65 minutes. We've seen him come off early. That's the only slight worry I'd have with Son is his minutes. He does get subs for some reason quite early.
Especially when he's just come back from injury the second time round. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to go on FPL.team, see what my team looks like for game week 12. Because double Arsenal looks fine for game week 12. Lewis has Spurs, Nuri has Fulham, and Mbeumo has Everton, Salah Southampton. Yeah, Salah's definitely standout captain for game week 12. Salah has Southampton away, whereas Haaland has Spurs. So I can see why people are actually selling Haaland, because even in game week 13, you're not going to captain Haaland. Game week 14, I probably would captain Haaland in game week 14, to be fair, but it's Forest at home with the way Forest are playing. But Parma has Southampton. So again, game week 14, I'm not captaining Haaland. Game week 15, you could go Haaland, game week 15, but Arsenal has Fulham.
I mean, another thing we have to consider as well, do you see Haaland blanking the next 5 game weeks? Or scoring?
No, he will still score, but you can hedge it by captaining Salah, I think, because Haaland's playing Liverpool. Let me show you what I mean. Share this. Let me just reset this and go back. So this is my team, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm playing. Let's bench Archer because I'm not playing him. I'm playing Semenyo. This is what my team looks like, right? For this game week. Let's say I captain Salah against Villa, right? Haaland's got Brighton. Let's move it on. But let's see how far we can get avoiding Haaland captaincy and we'll see what fixtures are like. So game week 12, Salah's got Southampton away. Haaland's got Spurs. I would go on current form, the fixtures. I would go Salah that game week. And if anyone, if you feel like there's a discussion about going with Haaland, let me know. But this week, let's say we go with Salah in game week 12. Move it along to game week 13. They play against each other, so you probably wouldn't captain any of them anyway. You probably go someone like a Palmer against Villa. You could go Mbeumo against Leicester. If you've got an Arsenal asset like a Saka, you could go. If you've got Spurs, I'm not sure who Spurs have this week, but you wouldn't captain either probably. And if you were going to captain one, you'd probably go Salah at home. Moving along to 14, again, Haaland got Forest at home. This is the one game week where you could actually go Haaland, but Palmer has Southampton. So if you're worried about no Haaland, you can just captain Palmer this week. So I wouldn't go Haaland. And then in game week 15, Palmer has Tottenham, Salah has Everton, Haaland has Palace. So you could essentially go all the way to game week 15 before you even look at Haaland at the captaincy. But again, if you have someone like, if you don't have Haaland in your team, you could go Salah again at Everton away. You could go, Arsenal have Fulham away. So again, if you've got Arsenal assets, if they do well at that time, you could sort of avoid Haaland there. Game week 16, Man United at home. Again, we have to see what Amorim does, but it's another game. It's a tougher fixture. But Salah has Fulham at home. Game week 17, Tottenham for Salah was a tough one. You would say away. Haaland's Villa away as well, so tough game. But Palmer has Everton, so you might want to go Palmer this week. So we're into game week 18, and there's not many weeks where I've looked at anything. I have to captain Haaland. Now, I'm not saying Haaland's not going to score from now to game week 18, but the point is, even if he scores one, if Palmer gets one, you can sort of get away selling Haaland, having a strong 11, if you know what I mean. So it's definitely a strategy that could work. And I've considered it myself. But yeah, that's sort of what I'm looking at now. And I've done the future planning, and there is actually not many weeks I'm looking to captain Haaland, personally.
Interesting. I think it also depends on obviously what Haaland does. If he does score 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah, maybe people will panic.
People start panicking again and try and find a way to bring him back into the team.
Yeah, I want to know the views of a non-Haaland owner. So Troy Charis. I've got no Haaland, got the armband on Salah, but tempted by Solanke with Ipswich and maybe Cunha against Southampton. But I'm leaning towards Solanke. Thoughts? Let us know, the non-Haaland owners in chat. When do you plan on bringing him back in? As I said, I've gone quite far in. I know there's people saying in the chat, Tottenham is a good fixture for Haaland. I get what they're saying. Tottenham do concede goals, but Salah has Southampton away. So on paper, you'd still say that's a better fixture for Liverpool.
Also, another thing as well is, obviously with no Haaland owners, you've invested a lot of money in that midfield and other forwards at a higher price. How many transfers is it going to take you, obviously, to bring Haaland back into your team? Because that's at least 2, pushing at 3, depending on how much money you've invested. Because again, Haaland's going to be more expensive than what he was originally brought out in the team. So you're paying the extra money for him when you bring him back in, if you do, as well as trying to downgrade the players that you bought in that midfield, forward, etc., to make it work again. So it's a big change.
I'm thinking a lot of people
you have to stick
may be willing to go without Haaland until game week 18. And also, we do have a wild card on us, guys. So if it does go badly, and let's say Haaland scores a hat-trick against Everton at home, because even in game week 18, Leicester at home for Salah, Everton at home for Haaland, Fulham for Palmer, Arsenal have Ipswich at home. So this is sort of a week where you can captain. It's going to be an interesting week. A lot of the top teams have really nice home fixtures.
Yeah, because at one point I was a no Haaland owner from the very beginning of the season. I had no Haaland in my team. I think up to game week 4, and by that time he had 5+ goals.
Yeah,
and I've lost out on all of those points that he and captain points combined.
Yeah, I think it's been more amplified though in your case, because we were all captaining Haaland those weeks. Like Haaland was like 200% effective ownership, and you didn't even have him in your team, which made it even worse. Because not only were you missing out on his points, but it was the fact that everyone was captaining him as well. But as I've shown you there, if you're not going to captain Haaland and he scores, then he may get you 6 or 7 points, where that you could sort of offset that by having a Solanke and a stronger midfield, because Haaland's budget will allow you to do that. So I think that's where it, for me, with even with Haaland and Salah, I said it last season when I went without, I think it was without Salah. When I stopped captaining these players, I don't think they're as worth having, the big 13 million players. Because for me, it's all on captaincy. Because if everyone has Salah and I don't, but I'm not willing to captain him, then I can get away with it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Definitely Haaland, all the people selling him. I can see the thinking behind it, because I've just gone through my planner, and more weeks I'm tempted with Salah or Palmer just because of the fixture. But if Salah goes and blanks and Haaland scores a hat trick, then we'll see. We might see a shift of people worrying, or let's get Haaland back in. But
yeah, that's all it's going to take. If Haaland scores 2 or 3 in a game week, that sudden surge next game week will be effective ownership. Will be all over Haaland again.
Look, check this, Charis. I plan on bringing Haaland back in around game week 28. So if he picks up insane from then, maybe around 18. So Charis is 28, and you're half the 2/3 of the season is already over by then. But if he picks up great form and you're looking, maybe bring him in game week 18, which is when I think Man City's fixed a turn again. It's just because I've watched a lot of Man City and I'm not convinced. Again, it was interesting to see what they do in January if they buy a Rodri replacement. I think a lot of it's going to come down to that as well. If they look good again in terms of signings and strengthening their team. But anyway, enough of the captain debate. I'm on sorry, I'll share my tab again. Back to my team. I'm on Salah. Yeah, as you guys know, obviously I am tempted with the Haaland captaincy shout because of how many people have sold him. But yeah.
And yeah, I suppose I should lock in the moves, because I'm not going to do anything else to the team, and I'm not going to go back on myself with it. So here we go. Another -4, which shouldn't be a -4, but it has to be. So Robinson, McNeil out, Van der Berg and Garnacho in.
That's a big one, man. I personally wouldn't have done it. We'll see in the next 3.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would have done it, just because I think Garnacho will need to score like 2 or 3 goals in the next 3 for that hit to pay off. But then again, McNeil's been pretty poor, so I guess why
it's in
frustration as well, taking him out. But it's the -4. If it was a 3, I think it's a good move. But -4.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's the annoying thing. If Garnacho didn't rise in price last night, that would have been a straight easy move. McNeil, Garnacho, done, locked in. Now a -4 for Van der Berg bringing.
Because as you know, when you take a -4, you do need to have a big week to get a green, because you're already on a back foot chasing points.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Haaland captaincy as well does pull off something and help out with that -4 too.
I think,
especially with those taking them out.
Yeah, for those that captaining Haaland, I think you need something big like a hat trick, something big like that to have a massive week. Like you need one of those killer
2 at most.
Yeah, 2 at minimum for it to be worth it. In terms of premium, I only have Salah this week. No Haaland, no Palmer. Is that bad? I have Foden instead. Probably would sell Foden. I'd rather have a Saka or a Brennan Johnson or a Son. I would bring in Son in your case, Hani. If you don't have Haaland, you don't have Palmer, you must have loads of money in the bank. So bringing in Son could be worth it in your case. Been a while, says Benji B. Garnacho is a risk. Only safe attacking player for United is Bruno, says Shax. I've seen chat amongst people saying Garnacho rotation risk potentially with Ahmad, so we'll see. But Garnacho does, when he plays, he is a threat on the counter attack, banging out some decent games. He's fairly cheap, 6.4 now.
Yeah, and he's played straight 90 minutes for the last 6 game weeks as well.
And also the thing is with new manager coming in, Amorim, you never know. He may prefer Ahmad and Rashford, or again, we don't know what he's going to do, because he will play a complete different formation. He plays with the back 3. So that's another thing to watch with Amorim. Who's the players he's going to play, because it's going to be a new, different sort of setup. Take out McNeil, Smith Rowe, or Rodgers for a premium midfielder. Probably McNeil. My mid is Mbermo, Johnson, Foden, Salah, Wissa, Jackson, Cunha. You could play Foden, but I'm just not convinced with City at the moment. Other than Haaland, the only one I'd probably have. Don't think it's worth having any of the other assets at the moment.
I'd rather have a Bruno instead of a Foden there as a differential. Better one, I think.
Vitality, play Sells or Fabianski. Probably Sells.
Yeah, I like Sells.
Lewis or Van der Berg. Probably Lewis. Ask him start to who would you start at these two, Jordan? Lewis, Burgess, Dibbling, Rutter.
I'd probably start Lewis and Rutter.
Okay. Yeah. Same. I'd probably go Rutter against Man City though, so a tougher fixture for him. Lewis will plays against him, so yeah, probably go with those two. In this one. Hi guys, looking for a Haaland replacement. Wissa, Evan Nilsson, Isak, Strand Larsen. I mean, probably Strand Larsen. I like Evan Nilsson. I think he's going to be a good pick. But I like Cunha. I think you missed out Cunha there. I think Cunha could be good instead of Strand Larsen. But I've gone with Strand Larsen. I'm hoping he bails me out this week and helps me get a green arrow. It's just captaincy now. Salah or Haaland. I want to back against Salah just because I don't know. I feel like if Haaland does well, I've got both of them as cover, which most people don't have.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. You've got both as cover. Some people have one rather than the other, so you can still make up for it if Haaland does score at least one goal.
I'm just trying to think who I think will score most points. That's what I put it down. Who will score most points? I think it might be Salah.
Against Aston Villa.
Yeah, Aston Villa have struggled, to be fair to them. No wins in 3. Obviously had the big loss against Spurs last game. Then they lost the first game in the Champions League against Club Brugge, and Aston Villa. Yeah, they did play in the midweek. Liverpool played midweek, but again, Aston Villa. I expect Aston Villa to not have as good of a season as last season, purely because they're not used to playing every 3 days, and now they played on the Wednesday. Now back to playing Liverpool. I think it's a big advantage for Liverpool. But Liverpool are used to it playing.
If you had to put a score prediction on that Liverpool game, what would it be in terms of?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a tough game. I still think it'll be a tough game, but I expect Liverpool to win, maybe 2-0, 2-1. But I do think Liverpool get the win, and if Liverpool are to win, I'd expect Salah to be involved. And in terms of the Brighton, as you know, with Haaland, I actually think this is a tough game. When I was watching Brighton, they played really well against Liverpool, and the way City have played against Bournemouth, City have not been beaten by the tough team. They've lost to Sporting, which aren't one of the top teams in Europe. Losing to Bournemouth, should have maybe got a draw against Wolves, and Wolves are very unlucky with the last minute header from Stones. Newcastle again, they weren't convincing really. I can't remember the last time I saw a convincing performance from Man City. I'd probably be even against Arsenal, that 2-2 draw. They were scraped that last minute to get that draw.
Yeah.
Look, so Bournemouth, they lost. Southampton, to be fair to against the Southampton, they should have won by more because they had chances. Haaland missed the chances, and it was one of those games. Wolves, again, I thought Man City struggled. Fulham, that is 3-2 is that 3-2 win. If you guys watched that game, Fulham really could have put that to the side. If Adama Traore could finish, Man City lose that game. Fulham, Newcastle, we watched that game. Arsenal, we watched that game. It would probably be Brentford.
Brentford was the most convincing game.
I mean, probably West Ham, Ipswich, but they were very early on in the season. That's when they had Rodri as well. But I don't even know if Rodri played in these matches. But yeah, it's been a while since we saw like a Man City performance, which we're not used to. And it's been a couple of games now, even in Europe, where they've not looked convincing. Obviously, we know the circumstances with Rodri. They've had a lot of injuries as well with Man City. So yeah, that's one thing to consider. But they're not going to get these players back anytime soon. And KDB, he's back, but we don't know if he's going to start.
Yeah, because I think KDB will start. He might not play that many minutes just because he's back from a very bad injury. But I think he will improve the Man City performance. It might not be the one we've seen at the start of the season, but it will help in that attack. I mean, defensively, that's another issue. But in that terms of that attack and consistency of scoring, it will help. And it will help Haaland also because, as we've seen, no one really passes the ball to Haaland or makes runs for him.
Yeah, when I watch Man City right now, it's like they're passing it around. It's sort of isolated, and then Ruben Diaz just shoots from like
Yeah,
outside the box, and he goes nowhere.
yeah, it'd be like a Guardiola, a Diaz, someone unlikely to score, or Stones. We've seen him on 2 occasions score a goal out of nowhere. I think one of them was actually from the Arsenal one to make it a draw, which was very fortunate that he managed to get that chance to get that 1 point from him. So they are passing it around just outside the box and hoping for someone to just shoot and score, rather than see them actually penetrate defenses in the box, and then somehow someone like a Foden or Haaland gets a chance to score instead, which we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's a big game for sure. I'm definitely going to be watching it. See how it goes. Thoughts on Anthony Gordon in? Could be decent. I've just other midfielders that I'd prefer at the moment over Anthony Gordon. Already got Cunha as well, says Yellow Army. Then yeah, Evan Nilsson maybe in that regard, rather than doubling up on Wolves. Evan Nilsson is a interesting punt with that 1% ownership. I think he's at the moment. Would you recommend bringing a United defender? If so, which one? The only one, Mazraoui, probably. He's quite cheap. I wouldn't bring in one personally at the moment. I just don't think there's many clean sheets there for Man United. I know they've got the good fixtures, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do concede but still win the game. But yeah, I wouldn't be bringing in a defender. I'd rather use my transfers on midfield and attack. If your midfield and attack is completely perfect, then maybe Mazraoui. But yeah.
Yeah, as a Man United fan, I'm slightly sliding towards obviously a defender. As you can see, I've got Mazraoui in my team, but I would either go for him, or if you can afford it, go to Delo for that attacking threat. Because even though Man United haven't looked convincing, there's still a chance they can nick a clean sheet where the games you don't expect them to.
Yep. No, fair enough. I'm just trying to think who I'm going to captain still. I'm tempted with Salah more and more. I think, Haaland more and more. I think about it just to be different at my rank, because everyone's on Salah. As far as I'm aware, everyone I've seen is on Salah captaincy. No one is looking at Haaland,
which is interesting. Very interesting, because there are going to be goals in that game from both sides. So someone has to score. Obviously, has to score the goals for Man City, and if it's not Haaland, obviously, who else do people think it will be? Because I know they haven't been convincing Haaland and other players, but if it's like a Guardiola or something like that again, then I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, I might go Haaland, because last week it was the opposite. I had Haaland captain all stream, and then I swapped it, remember, to Salah. It paid off
last minute.
I am feeling Haaland this week, but I think I'm feeling Haaland just because of the differential purposes. I think most people won't look at Haaland. They sold him. They think he's bad, a bad pick now, or whatever. Yeah, you know what? Still 7 minutes to go for the deadline. I'm gonna go Haaland. Not because I think Salah could do well. I think there's not much in it between them, but it's just due to the fact that the differential. I think effective ownership. Most people would have sold Haaland, and that does tempt me to go with Haaland just to be different. And I've got Salah anyway. If Salah does well, then I've still got him. But this probably, if Salah goes big again and Haaland and Man City don't look convincing again, I probably will sell Haaland. By the way, that's the sort of where I'm coming from. I probably will get rid of Haaland. As I've showed you, I've gone with the FPL team. There's not really a week. Even this week, if I didn't have Haaland, I wouldn't think twice. I'll just go Salah captain and go with it. But that's where I'm at the moment. I think with Haaland, I'm not completely against selling him, because if I sold Haaland, I can go get Solanke. I can upgrade Archer to Acuna or whoever. I can go upgrade Semenyo to a Brennan Johnson. You know what I mean? So and then I could do Rodgers up to like a, I don't know if it allows me to do a Saka in potentially. So that's where I'm thinking, could I get those points elsewhere, get a better overall squad, and then just captain Salah, Palmas, and then just rotate between them when whoever has a better fixture that week.
I think that's what makes it clear as well. I think it is better to keep Haaland in the team for this week, because we have that international break to think about it. Obviously, depending on what the result is from this game week of Haaland, but you got that 2-week break to reconsider, think what to do. So obviously, there's going to be injuries involved and whatnot. So there's those to sort out.
Yeah.
Would you rather just keep keep Haaland in your team for this week just to see what he does and have a rethink?
Haaland needs to be big. He needs to go big, I think, for us captaining him. We need a Salah blank and a Haaland hat trick.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Because even if Haaland scores one, loads of people have sold Haaland. Like the active players in the community, like they're off, Haaland completely. So we need a big Haaland score.
Yeah. Obviously after the international break, it's justified to sell Haaland if he doesn't have a good week against Brighton away, which makes sense, I think.
Yeah, no, I still think Haaland will get goals. It's just captaincy. Like,
captaincy.
Is he going to outscore the other big picks? Because he has to outscore Salah now. If he doesn't, then we'll have lost in that regard. But yeah, we'll see. Thoughts on Solanke captain? Interesting. Don't hate it. It's different. I would be wary of going ahead of Haaland and Salah. I still think they're the safe ones. But if you want to be very different, then yeah, Solanke is one of the better picks. Got the fixture, Ipswich.
Yeah, I think you can get away with going with a different captain this week on a punt, especially if you either have Salah or Haaland or both of them. I think justifying it, you can go different with the captain this week because a lot of people are not going with the same one.
From what I've seen, obviously Twitter isn't the FPL community, but a lot of people have gone Salah cap. And it's just, I don't know, it's Anfield, it's an evening game, under the lights. You're thinking. We've seen Liverpool just dismantle Leverkusen as well, 4-0. They didn't get out first gear in that. Well, we didn't feel like they got out of second gear in that second half. So,
I feel like maybe Aston Villa is slightly underlooked. Maybe they're poor.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's usually, but I think it's the form of them as well. When Aston Villa recently, they've not been the one Aston Villa of last season that we know. They've conceded 4 goals to Spurs. Liverpool are another team similar to Spurs that do like to attack a lot. So,
a high line.
They won't want to lose another one. So Spurs, they may go defensive a bit more, but draw against Bournemouth, draw against Man United at home, which you'd expect. It's one win in the last 5 as well for Villa. So I think Villa are a strange team because they've done really well in the Champions League, we know, but you look at, they've struggled. That's the thing I was talking about with Villa. They've struggled to acclimatize to Wednesday, Saturday. It's not easy, especially for a team like Villa, not used to it. And you see it's affected their results. When they have to come play midweek and play in the Prem, they don't win. And as you've seen here, the last win when they did that was Fulham. Other than that, they come in playing with Champions League. It's a different ball game. When you play every 3 days, it is not the same. When you're having a whole week to rest, and Aston Villa, I think, will struggle this season because of that. Long term, I think, again, for the top 4, I'm not sure they will get top 4 again, but we will see. But yeah,
not long now. 2 minutes to deadline.
Yeah, I'm going to stick on Haaland. I'm just going to go stick on Haaland because as I've explained. But yeah, look, I was a Liverpool fan. The way Liverpool are playing right now, top of both Champions League, top of Premier League, how good it is to watch them, it does make me sort of think, I should back my team, but we'll see. Got 2 free transfers, Semenyo to Salah and Haaland to Cunha. Yeah, I think fine moves. If you want to captain Salah, then I can't really say don't do it because I would be in the same boat. If you want to get rid of Haaland, Salah's the next. Well, I think Salah is the best captain potentially anyway. If you don't have Haaland in your team, because I've got both, I want to back against it.
Yeah, you might want to do it very quickly, Elliot, if you haven't done it already, because you literally have seconds before the deadline is up.
7 minutes to go. I'm scared. I'm staying with Brave with Johnson captain, so there has to be DCL to Larson or Cunha. I'd probably go Larson. Why not? I know I can't afford Cunha, but
I mean, it's just different, isn't it? It's less owned. Everyone has picked.
And you save 1.1 million because Cunha is 1.1 million more. And that 1.1 million could be used in your defense or your midfield to upgrade elsewhere.
Yeah, and equally, I think they're both as good as each other. Like we've seen from the goals and assists they both have. They're equal. 4 goals, 1 assist, Larson and Cunha. So there's nothing really much in between them to split them apart. Apart from their minutes, maybe. But Larson does play
All right, that's it. I've gone Haaland cap.
Oh,
Deadline's up, man.
so both Haaland captains this week.
I feel like I might regret that, but we'll see.
I actually feel relieved. I've not actually felt that overly decisive over captaincy this week. It's weird feeling. I just have a gut feeling that Haaland, whatever result he gets,
is gonna do well.
Yeah, it's good. It's gonna be.
I don't feel like that, but I've gone with it anyway. I think he can score, but trust me, Brighton. I don't expect an easy game for City.
Yeah, I just want to watch.
When is it? Let's see the fixtures. When is the? Let me share my screen. So 5:30 kickoff as well.
It's a good time.
So we will know like what happens if Haaland doesn't do well, and then Liverpool play next, because Liverpool straight after 8 p.m. kickoff, which is going to be good. Both televised games back to back. Elika says Haaland brace, please. But if Haaland gets a brace, then that's what is needed. I think bare minimum. Yeah. Even one goal, I don't think, unless Salah goes on blanks, of course. Salah blanks and Haaland gets one goal, and it's still okay. But really, to punish the Haaland non-sellers, I think you need a break or something big.
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3, and then I think the Haaland sellers will panic. I think possibly, but again, we'll see, because not seen Man City do that for a while now. Even in all comps, they're not really, showing that. But Haaland. Let's see what you've got.
Yeah,
Salah as well. We'll be watching 8 p.m. Man United as well tomorrow. Chelsea, Arsenal, the big one. So make sure you guys do tune in for Knee Jerk stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK time. And yeah, it should be really good stream, especially both of us have captained Haaland. We're backed against Salah, even though we both own Salah. We're sort of the only few managers that's got both, because I feel like most managers only have one or the other. You have 2.
Yeah, that's why I think it's not as bad, because we've got Salah in our team, we've got Haaland in our team, we captained Haaland. So even if, I think it makes it worse if Salah scores more than 1, then it might look a bit daunting.
Oh yeah, if Salah scores 2 goals and Haaland blanks, it's a big big fail. Even as a Salah owner, it would be a big fail, because to not captain him when everyone else would have captained him. Because you have to understand, if Salah gets us 2 goals, what's that? How many points would that be? About 12 points. Everyone will have 24 potentially, or whatever it is. Yeah. So it will be double. So that will be a big blow. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Elika. Hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. If you have, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell and tune in tomorrow. Yeah, honestly, thank you for watching. It's been a very interesting stream, and it will be a very exciting Knee Jerk reaction Sunday tomorrow after the Chelsea and Arsenal game. So it's one to watch. So stay tuned for that. But then, till then, take care. Enjoy the weekend, guys. Enjoy the football.